did come here, and we're going to be interviewing Tom again. So
It'll be
maybe
a great time. We like to enjoy it. There's a couple of other good candidates running as well.
Oh yeah, there sure is, and they're all welcome here, and so are the incumbents. You had mentioned something about gambling and casino. What is your position on a casino in Foxborough? Before you answer that, I want to tell you we did a whole little show on it. We had columnist Bill Govea with us last week.
Okay.
I'm sure you know Bill.
I know Bill. Well, I know of him. I've never met him, but I know where he stands.
You've read his work.
I know where he stands.
Yeah, and he you know where he sits is right in that chair sometimes. Okay. So, and then our good friend Eddie Gato is with us. He works on the show from time to time. Okay. He used to have a feature, but he's college bound, so he's doing his thing there. And we had a little discussion on that last week. But what is your position on a casino in Foxborough? Okay.
Well, the casino issue in Foxborough, I'm opposed to casinos in general. During the time while the debate was going on at Beacon Hill to allow for casino gambling in Massachusetts, I was opposing it and seeking to oppose it. But this casino in particular, I believe, is bad for the district. It is not a good fit for this district. It doesn't just affect Foxborough, but it affects all the abutting communities as well. Studies, there's a study that was put out by the University of Buffalo, Dr. John Welty and his team surveyed, and they said that compulsive gambling skyrockets when the closer in proximity you are to a casino. It is just not a good thing for the district at all. Property values go down, crime goes up, family instability, domestic abuse, all of those things. It just has tremendous ramifications for public safety, property values plummeting, low-paying jobs, pressures on the schools as you're bringing in a lot of workers and different things. So there's just a lot of issues that are involved with it. So from the very day one, I've been opposing this and have been working with the anti-casino group in Foxborough. And that's one of the things talk about with Senator Timilty is that he has also come out saying that he doesn't think it's a good idea. But he was at several public meetings. I was there with him at those public meetings. He could have spoken then, and his word would have carried some clout. But he said nothing. He stayed in the back, makes a brief statement, and that's what I said. A senator needs to lead public opinion, not follow it. Okay. He waited until he saw where the majority was going to stand, and there he went.
Well, like I said, we did a little discussion group on that last week, and the position I have on it, and again, to me, the debate is no longer about gambling. Gambling's been approved.
Right.
Okay.
I understand
whatever
that.
Side you are on the deal there, it's a moot point at this.
Right.
Okay. So now the question is only about if they're going to have it, where you're going to have it. And my position was, and it differs from you a little bit, is I don't know that I'm in favor of it. On the other hand, that's this Foxborough's issue. They're the ones that actually vote on it. We can tell them and give them information and make points and counterpoints and everything else. At the end, those people have to vote on it's their
Absolutely
town.
Right.
They're the nucleus. They're the center of the.
And they'll face the greatest they'll face the greatest consequences. But the abutting towns also have issues that they deal with, and in a city like Attleboro, there are issues there, even though it's a little further out.
On the other hand, they'll reap the biggest rewards too, but that won't be shared.
That's correct.
That won't be shared. See, that's
correct.
Something you could say anything you want about that, but for example, if they say it's good for like $10 million a year, just to throw out a figure, okay, none of the other surrounding towns are going to see any of that.
Right.
So it's just them.
But they will experience many of the negative consequences, particularly Walpole, that are where you've got houses abutting. The property where they're thinking of doing it, their property values are going to plummet, but they're not going to receive any of the benefits from it. So it's a real issue.
I'm of the opinion at least they should get a solid proposal together and know what they're voting on before they just ultimately flatly turn it down. And then again, it's their decision. Whatever they do, then they have to live with it or live without it, whatever they want to do. But it's funny. We had a whole big debate about it. I'm not going to rehash the argument because there's just, but it's kind of getting nasty over there. I think they need some guidance over there, and they need somebody to kind of calm them down a little bit, stop the infighting. I mean, it's really bad over there. Now, how would Senator do this now if we were?
Well, I think number one, I would say I'm sympathetic to the selectmen. They're in a tough spot, having to make these decisions. So I'm sympathetic to their plight. But once again, we have a pretty good sense of what casino gambling is. The proposal is the proposal, but casino gambling is casino gambling. It doesn't really change from locale to locale. It is what it is.
That's right.
But I believe that, as a senator, I think you focus on making your position known, giving your rationale, for that decision, and making the argument as cogently as you can, and then look to bind the wounds, to bring people together, to find a compromise that everyone can live with. I don't think you can be absolutist, but at the same time, you need to be someone who can persuade others and bring people to the table.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would seek to do.
It's just, I mean, I understand the selectmen in Foxborough, and I tell you right now, I don't think I'd want that job for all the tea in China.
Not at this point in time.
But they're just basically ducking for cover.
And you can't blame them for that to
And
a certain extent.
No. But I mean, just, there has to be some voice somewhere that's going to, get up and say, listen, people, this is not the way to deal with this. Because it's very ugly over there. I mean, there's something in the newspaper every day about signs being this and that and outside groups.
It's a subject that engenders very strong feelings on both sides of the debate. This is not something I feel, ambivalent about. I have very strong feelings. Because when you sat in an office and people are coming to you and saying, my husband just went to Foxwoods and has just spent my entire child's college fund, and the distress that brings into a family. I know people say, well, if you don't want to gamble at a casino, don't gamble at a casino. But tell a 6-year-old child you should have voted just not to participate.
Oh, I know.
There are issues, that are there, and you know what those issues are. And so I feel very strongly. But I also, believe that the other side needs to be heard and should be treated with dignity and respect as well.
Because, I mean, we've had gambling in this state forever. I mean, there was a racetrack in Foxborough. You can go anywhere and buy lottery tickets. You could spend the money on a lottery ticket, too. You could spend the child's, savings on lottery tickets. It happens.
I understand that, yes.
So you think this is maybe magnifying it.
True. And
it's allowing an opportunity to magnify.
And once again, the studies have been done, and all the facts are in, as far as it exacerbating what we already have. But once again, as you said, the vote has been taken, the legislature has spoken, they've allowed it. Now it's a matter of the communities, and anywhere this goes is going to engender, very strong feelings, and those fights are going to be there. But the legislature, when they put it together and they gave the communities these options, and I think they did the right thing in giving the communities the ultimate say as to whether they wanted it or not. But it was going to create this. There's just no avoiding it.
Right. I mean, and there's been misstatements on all sides of this and everything. And I don't want to go too much into this. We did this all last week. But another issue that lots and lots of people in this area are concerned with, and that's the MBTA.
And I am greatly concerned about it as well.
We have a lot of people that take the commuter train to work everywhere around this area.
That's right.
And now we're looking at the MBTA, and say what you will about them, and believe me, I'll give you a chance to.
I intend to.
Okay. Now they're looking at a fairly substantial rate hike, which the other side of the coin is they haven't had one in many years. Mm-hmm. Okay, but now they're looking for a substantial rate hike, and they also look like they want to cut back some things. Mm-hmm. So where do you stand on this? I mean, what do you say to the people that, and believe me, I know Mansfield's a very big commuter town, but Attleboro
is too.
Oh, they all, the towns in this district
The entire district. In many ways, the MBTA is the lifeblood, of the community. So many, commuting into Boston every day from all of our communities. There are 2 stations in Attleboro. Then, of course, there's the Mansfield station. You have the station in Sharon as well, where commuters are picking that up, and it is the most heavily used line on the MBTA. So this is a significant issue for us. The problem that the MBTA is facing is it's not a revenue problem that they have; it's a debt problem. They're running a $161 million projected shortfall on their budget. But they have an $8 billion debt, in which they're paying $400 million in debt service. They have a debt problem. I'm opposed to any rate increases until, at the very least, they put forth a plan to how they're going to deal with that debt. They have $2.7 billion of deferred maintenance. You have locomotives who are ending their years of good life in those. And last winter was atrocious because of the cold, the extreme cold, and the breakdowns, and all this deferred maintenance on the locomotives and buying the locomotives. When they got the stimulus money, they opened up stations that they didn't need and just put a lot of money into those, so they've misspent things, are always looking to build new stuff rather than maintain what they have. The problem is spending, the problem is debt. They need to have a comprehensive plan as to how they're going to deal with that before they start talking about 43%.
That's their plan, raise the prices.
Right, but all that's doing
none
is
of that won't go to debt.
It won't. And so you're going to be right back here again 2 or 3 years from now saying we need another 43% increase, another 50% increase. And our commuters just can't afford it. And it's going to drive some to start to drive, which is going to make the congestion in and out of Boston so much worse and put more and wear and tear on the roads and the Department of Transportation and the road.
Right. If it's not cost effective, people will go back to driving.
That's right, and that's that's exactly what we don't want to see happen because of the winters.
All the costs.
And then we're going to see all kinds of problems, and all of the Department of Transportation branches are all running at deficits.
Right.
So
but we also have a governor right now who likes to theoretically test the waters with a gas tax, and if all these people start driving to work and start buying more gasoline, then the state gets more taxes, but that doesn't go to the MBTA either.
Correct.
But that's all a grand scheme.
It is.
Okay, so
it is.
And again, I'll ask you this. I know the answer, but how would you feel about a pending tax on gas?
I think it's a ridiculous proposal. We don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem.
Okay.
We need to get our spending.
Oh, I know. I say that all the time.
That's where we need to get back to, a solid spending plan. We need to care for what we need to care for. But we've got to get this state back on track as far as its spending. We have a bloated bureaucracy, and it's time to deal with it.
So no increased gas tax?
Absolutely not.
How about a separate tax on candy, what they call the sugar tax, I guess? That would...
Once again, I don't believe in punitive taxes to try to get people to change their behaviors. Whether you should eat candy or not eat candy, I think that's each individual's choice as to whether they do that. I don't think we make it punitive. Why not tax every aspect of food? I don't believe we should be trying to change people's behavior and taxing a particular aspect, whether you want to call it food or not. I'm not going to get into that argument, but nonetheless, I don't think we should be.
I know. I hear all these things now, and the food police is, and I don't understand it. And in fairness, I'm an empty nester, but in my neighborhood there's a bunch of young children, all right, and these kids, they eat the same things every other kid eats, but yet they're outside, active, and they're all in good shape. There's no heavy kids. They're out all the time. They play. They're not inside with video games and watching TV. They're playing ball and field hockey, and they go to the end of my street every day, and they take their razors and their skateboards, and they go up and leave them all at the end house. Yep. But they're active, so I mean, I don't know that it's...
So you're saying a Snickers bar isn't going to hurt them?
A Snickers bar is not going to hurt them, nor is a hamburger. I mean, come on,
Although people our age might need to stay away from it a little bit more.
You got to exercise.
You got to exercise and do all those things.
I mean, look at me. Right. This body's a shrine.
That's it. That's it.
But no, I grew up and had school meals. I mean, and they served nature's most perfect food, tater tots.
There we go. There we go.
So, now let me ask you another question. Now you were talking about taking care of people, taking care of who we need to. Now, of course, do you know Representative Shauna O'Connell?
I do know Shauna.
Okay, Shauna. Been a frequent guest on our show. She was just here a few weeks ago. She's
doing a great job. Doing a great job there in Taunton.
She has, you know what? I'll break for a second. She has done an outstanding job. She is so unpolitician, and she has just hit the ground running. And she has, I mean, really, a lot of people up in Beacon Hill should be embarrassed that they've had these jobs for years and years and years, and the good old boys network.
That's right.
And you get someone like Shauna who has been a true fresh breath of air, and just gone in and filed things and pushed things through and made things happen. And
couldn't agree with you more.
And she's not a consummate politician. She doesn't know all the ins and outs. She's barely been there a full term.
Yeah, but she's learning in a hurry.
Yeah, and she's been in the papers quite a bit lately.
Effective,
and
very effective.
That is over the numerous accounts of fraud and abuse, amongst other things, with the EBT cards.
That's right.
And the the cash, the cash allotments that go with that.
Right.
And so, what do you think about that? And what would you do to maybe help someone like Shauna? Has got a committee finally formed. And just a little background, their backs are against the wall because they have to like get a lot done and get a report on the governor's desk by April 1st.
Right.
And the clock is ticking. Okay, so she needs all the help she can get. And theoretically, there's no way you as a senator can help her right now because you wouldn't, if you were even successful, you wouldn't be on board till after that fact.
Correct.
But what kind of things can you do to what do you feel, or how do you feel about this?
I think you use the bully pulpit and you back her, you stand with her.